on your dial right now. They see stories every play, every time with Rob Brown breaking it all down. Yeah. SEC, sideline sports on my mind. Rob Brown calling game time, highlight shine, executive mind. Brendan Martin keeping Rob in line. Like, subscribe, share it, tell everyone. Sideline sports, y'all come back real soon. Same place, same time, same tune. From the booth to the field, every Saturday feeling you home. We ride that rivalry, make that living room sound like the zone. From Tiger Grouse to Rebel Crowds, every hometown heartbeat loud. Rob and Brand turning up that talk like you right there inside the crowd. SEC, sideline sports on my mind. Rob Brown calling game time, highlight shine, executive mind. Brandon Martin keeping Rob in line. Like, subscribe, share it, tell everyone. Sideline sports, y'all come back real soon. Same place, same time, same tune. Hey!
Where's Rob? I can never find Rob in the morning. He's always on some other studio. Oh my God!
I'm here.
Orange Blue game this weekend. Orange versus the Blue. It's crazy.
Hook 'em spring games, folks.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! Hook 'em spring games.
Like Rocky
Chomp,
7
chomp,
out
chomp.
there.
Oh,
Rocky 7. It's like bad.
Yeah, we got an author with us this morning, Pete Cordelli, making the grade. Sounds like a movie about with Rob Lowe in the 80s at some prep school or something in America. Making the grade. We're going to talk Ellis
Oxford
Johnson.
Blues.
Oxford Blues. They filmed one of them at Rhodes College, by the way, where Matt Dean was probably an extra.
That was at Rhodes? I love that.
Yeah,
movie.
they filmed it at Rhodes, one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was at Rhodes. And I'm going to tell you what, we got Dave Bartoo pouring the coffee right now out there in Forest Grove, Oregon, right outside of Portland, close to the Pacific coast. Hey, let's bring in everybody, but let me tell you, please share it, like it, and subscribe. We're live streaming on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and X Twitter. A lot going on. And let me quote here, since I've got 3 plus Brendan 4 and a very smart audience. Doug Dean sent me some morning show prep. I love Doug. God, he's brilliant and a great run. But he said, Rory McIlroy at the end of the Masters. Rory is a fan of the ancient Stoics philosophy, like Epictetus. We all remember Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who once said, quote, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This quote captures Rory's gutty repeat best. Quote, "When you don't need something, but rather love something, that is a considerable passion from which to let your talent flow." And by the way, the money that the Live is offering.
It says, I got a private jet and I can blow off all tournaments and go play the Masters, play Augusta, whatever I want.
That's right.
And then fly back and pick up my kid and go to dinner.
That I saw that. So that was
that's what that's called.
And that was great stuff. And look, what a weekend we
I'm
had.
rich.
Well, Rory, but I tell you what they showed. They are still drinking stout Guinness and good Irish whiskey over in Ireland, where Rory's from. They showed that scene at his golf club. It was about 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. And they still are celebrating. What I'm going to tell you what, it's the most college football SEC-like of all the golf tournaments because it focuses on 3 things: history, traditions, and heroes. Dave, College Football Matrix, joins us. The numbers, you tell stories with numbers. Like Chuck says, nobody does it like you with staffing of college and pro teams. CFBmatrix.com and also the hempforpros.com. Those gummies. I took an energy gummy this morning. I am laser focused. I have appetite suppression. I've had 1 chocolate donut from Gibson's Donuts, Pete. You know it well in Memphis. Man, those things are good. But guys, it's football in the air. I'm going to get Dave to throw some meat out here, and then I'll go Dave, Ellis, Pete. We're going to go rapid fire Monday. We'll try to be quick because we got a lot of questions. Good morning, One Stone Angel. You're fighting cancer. We see. I love this guy. He is as tough as a $3 steak. Thank you for watching, and everybody share it and like it. Dave, the 26th spring practice is underway, and it is what it is. We know that. But there's a narrative, there's a theme heading into the 26th season. What are some early things that are catching your attention?
So what caught my attention the last couple of days, and it wasn't much because I'll admit it's one of the few times I like getting up early on the weekends out on the coast and watching Saturday, Sunday of the Masters when it's tight. So, but when it comes right down to what I've been seeing is what popped up this week is odds to make the playoffs and the rejuvenation, the reincarnation, the repeating of the bull crap of, oh my God, look at their schedules. Shut the hell up. Oh my Lord. You know, it's just right to the bitching. Right to the bitching. You know, and it's like, are you just unhappy that you don't have an easier path of wins and health to the playoffs than everybody else? I'll start this morning off with something I've said a lot, and I'll keep saying it. Fans want the 12 best teams or whatever the number is in the playoffs. Am I correct? Okay.
Yes. Correct.
Then you need to shut up about strength of schedule, because there is no correlation between strength of schedule and the quality of the team. Okay, if Georgia or Alabama or LSU plays 12 straight MAC teams, does that make them shittier than everybody else? No, it doesn't. In fact, it makes them healthier than everybody else. You can complain about that, but you can't complain about the quality of the team relative to the schedule.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I first started in the bond business 35 years ago, I got the Kohl's directory back when you would just cold call people. And one of the girls up there said, "Oh, that street's already been called before." I looked at her like, "Not by me." A lion sees an elephant. Most people think that elephant's big. The lion says, "There's lunch." Ellis Johnson, you heard what Dave Bartoo, CFB Matrix, just said. And folks, Monday's my favorite day of the week. And if you struggle with Mondays, hempforpros.com. Take an energy gummy. They work on being laser focused. Ellis, your thoughts on what Dave just said? Because I agree 111% with him.
Yeah, the biggest thing I think, strength of schedule. If you play a really, really strong schedule, it can affect you physically, week after week after week after week. That pounding. But I agree with Dave. There's too much emphasis on it when you get to the final record, and you put all that in the middle of it and start debating it. It's just something that people reach for when they know they didn't win enough ball games. Yeah, but we played the last 4 or 5, but it is harder. I mean, I've been in different places at different times, and it's a little bit tougher to get through 12 weeks of the SEC and still have a healthy football team that lasts 3 or 4 games.
Yeah. And Pete.
Oh, and one other thing.
Yeah.
My main man over there at Gibson's, Don DeWeese, he's a bulldog. and I miss those donuts because he'd get some down to Starkville somehow quite frequently, and I miss them.
My mom is 91, and she goes, "Go get me some Gibson's donuts." I go, "They're kind of fat." She goes, "I'm 91, and they go great with vodka." She still drinks her Smirnoff. So I go there 2 or 3 times a week. Thank you, Ellis. Ellis knows everybody. Don DeWeese is an ambassador for good times and a full belly. Pete, you've been there.
Yeah, Don DeWeese always talks about his 3 sons to me. Take me, gimme, and Hemi. I said, "What do you mean, Don?" He said, "Well, I got one. It's Dad, take me, take me, take me." He said, "I got another. It's gimme, gimme, gimme." He said, "I got a third one. He's Hemi because he's a pain in my ass. He's a hemorrhoid." He said, "Those are my 3 sons." I said, "Don, only you can get away with that."
That's right.
I'm going to tell you what, when John Calipari was the head basketball coach of Memphis, he used to have a weekly meeting out there with the
he did.
And I want to tell you, man, it was just like going to the corner, the local bar, but it's the donut shop. Don DeWeese, I'm going to tell you now, there's no better guy. I mean, he will help you out in a heartbeat. But
he's amazing.
Here's the thing I hate about spring is that we create false hope for fan bases. And this is back when we actually had some real football going on.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about this guy had a great spring game or this guy had a great scrimmage. And it's like, yeah, they're going against a third team walk on who you just brought out. And well, you know, again, I say this all the time. I've never heard a coach say, God, we had a terrible spring. Man, we didn't get anything done. I don't know how, especially with the transfer portal. Now you got all these new guys. How you really know what you have in your football team when you haven't put them through football related drills and activities.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get better if you don't practice football. And the worst comment ever made was Allen Iverson. Practice? We talking about practice? Yeah, we are. And just because you're better than everybody else with the basketball, and believe me, I saw Allen Iverson play quarterback in high school. He was phenomenal. But he was just a unicorn when it came to being an athlete. 95% of your guys need practice.
Yeah.
They need repetitions. They need to get better at fundamentals, especially in the offensive and defensive line.
Yeah.
And we don't, you know, it's kind of like if you would have looked at Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and said, hey, we want you to fight championship bout. Let's go for number 4, but you can't spar it. So you got to get in the ring. And they're like looking at you going, what do you mean I can't spar getting ready? And that's what's happening in spring practice now.
Yeah.
You think the amount of time, what is it, 2 scrimmages now in the spring, is going to carry over to August? Those guys are going to punch each other harder drinking beer at the lake on Saturday afternoon than they do in football. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we've watered down this game so much. And then with all the money that there is, we expect this quality product.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is you don't have high school jamborees or scrimmages, preseason games in the NFL. So you got to be ready to go week 1 in college football. And by that time, September is like putting a puzzle together.
Yeah.
Who
Pete-
fits there? October then becomes, we got to get better. Teams that are playing their best football in November. And like Ellis said, you don't know how healthy you're going to be in November. It's a crapshoot.
Yeah. Pete, let me, I'm going to throw this to Dave because you're making so many great points and you're going to come back to it. But Dave, you heard what he just said. I look at the best high school football program in this century in Memphis. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it's my school's biggest rival, MUS. Bobby Austin, Pete, you know him, back in 2001, no more spring practice for football. There's enough 7-on-7 camps and all that stuff. My football players are either going to play lacrosse, participate in track and field, or do both. And since then, they've won 4 state championships, 4 or 5 runner-ups, and a bunch of quarterfinals. So, Dave, you look at numbers and all, pick up on what Ellis and Pete just said, and there was what I just said. Have you seen that case anywhere else?
Well, I'm sure it's across the board, but and I guess kind of playing off what Pete's talking about is when we're working on evaluating players, okay, and we just had a mega combine out in Clayton, North Carolina this past weekend. And by the way, if you're looking for a top 1% of 1% athlete, go find yourself a Keith James out there in North Carolina, class of 2027. Top 5 athleticism that we've tested so far this year out of more than 17,000 kids. So, but getting back to Pete's point, 3 things that make a great football player, great sports athlete. Team player. Allen Iverson, as Pete just mentioned, had the athleticism, right? He could walk on any court, you know. And it's the same thing with football players. There's just certain guys that you just hand him the ball. You give Cam Newton the ball, he'd just go win you some football games, right? And Cam Newton would be the kind of guy who goes, practice? I don't need no practice. Give me the football, right? But the other, and I would correct Pete, it's not 95%, it is 99.9999% of everybody else needs two other things, and that is mental toughness and game IQ. Okay, how smart are you at your craft? How tough are you at your craft? Right, and then there's the athleticism. Your greatest guys have all three. Right, your Aaron Donald is the mentally toughest guy out there. Right, he also had the highest athleticism score of any defensive lineman of the last 17 years. Okay, and then he knew how to play his game. So when it comes right down to it, and it doesn't matter what game it is that you play, repetition, those reps, game situations, even if it's not physically on the field, it's watching film in situations, learning your opponent, right? Yeah, it's great to be out there sparring. It's also great to be watching film of the guy that you're actually going to try to fight. So I 100% agree. The more you can immerse yourself in every aspect of your sport, football or whatever it is, physically and mentally, every aspect, especially the aspect where you are weakest. That is one big, I got parents, I got coaches, I got a lot of people that say, what's a bit of advice for a player? Find your weakness and make it stronger. Everybody wants to practice on what they're good at. Guarantee you, Rory, great driver of the ball, right? What he doesn't like to do, he probably practices more than anything else. So repetition of everything physically and mentally, in my opinion, is key to life, to anything, right? If you want to be great at something, you got to be great at every aspect of it.
Yeah, I can tell you.
I think golf's a perfect metaphor for that because I caddied, so I wasn't that great of a player, but I got in the head of those guys for a while in my life, and the pre-shot routine, right, Dave, like what you do every single time you hit that shot. Every time you hit a 5-iron, like every shot is the same way. You line up here, you do this, you do that. That triggers that sensation of hitting a clean, good shot, and they know, hey, you're a 155 to the pin, you're a 10, you're 145 to the edge. It's a 142 carry to that front fringe. You want to hit like 143, and they're like, no problem.
How cool was that watching I watched the Golf Channel last night. Talk about Rory McIlroy's caddy is his best friend. He doesn't want the spotlight or the limelight, but that shot, and I'm no golf aficionado like y'all are, but he walked out there to get the wind, to calculate it. I thought that was fascinating. Ellis,
that's normal.
They showed it. They normally don't do stuff like that. I thought that was
cool. You gotta understand, but there's a whole book. They have a whole caddy book that they give them when they go out and they play their the pro-am and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When they'll go out and they're allowed to mark up their books. They can write down, okay, well, my guy's going to hit it here. And it's just an empty book, and it's got blank pages on it, every hole, and they can draw on it, and that's their caddy book. But they go through and they'll mark off and walk stuff, but like in those programs, and be like, I know he's going to be 10 from here. Yeah. So it's a science, but then it's also like, hey, I got to tell this guy, he's juicing it all day. So he's hitting his 5-iron deep. I'm just going to tell him it's a hard 6, man. Like,
got to be a truth broker.
You got to lie. Actually, you got to lie a lot as a caddy. That's coaches, you got to tell me you don't just say this kid ain't got it in him. I got to make him think he's Superman. I mean, come on, Cordelli. You got
every day.
Come on,
every day you got to tell guys that. Every day you got to get them out of the tank, brother. Ellis,
what Dave just talked about, you heard him talking about competitors. And man, you've coached over your 43 years of coaching. I go back to Brother Bill Oliver, the term he used, interchangeability. Safeties, corners, linebackers, he wanted everybody to know everyone else's responsibilities. And Dave Bartoo, you probably saw Brother Oliver once or twice, and Ellis, it, blitz 10 or 11. That was really cool to watch. But you got to have the stomach and the confidence to do it, Ellis.
Yep. We didn't ever blitz that many. We might have showed them up on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. It looked like it.
But if I have to listen to Jim Nance for 5 more minutes, I mean, he if one of those guys went to take a crap, you'd have to listen to him for 15 or 20 minutes, try to make it sound like the crowning of King Arthur. I mean, I'm just serious, guys. It's too much, man.
Yeah.
It's like when they put all that sprinkles and whipped cream and stuff on a damn good waffle and just ruin the waffle and the French toast with all that stuff. I can't take it anymore.
No Belgian waffles for Tom Cruise. Get that shit out of here. I don't want it.
Well, it's all the sappy.
He's great. He's really good. But it starts every year at around February.
Yeah.
Him doing a commercial and a scene of Augusta National. Looks like you're going to buy some farmland. By the way, I've played that course about 15 times, guys.
Wow.
How'd you play when you played?
Yeah.
Not real good. I played about the same way I played at the Little Monster in Winsboro, South Carolina. But it is a fun course from tee to green. It's fun. I mean, it's hard to hit a ball where you can't find it and hit it again.
Yeah.
But boy, those greens. Whew. And we had
all about the greens, right?
The employee we had playing with us could read them. And if he did what he told you to do, you had a shot and make the putt. But I was scared my ball when Roy was hitting that ball out of the 10th fairway over there, trying to get to number 18. I said, if he just called me, I could have told him that was the best way to go.
Well, what gets me about
on the other one is green.
The end of the Masters, it's all that sappy piano music, on every little thing. Like, da, 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 da. How about a little Skinner, Simple Man coming up in the background?
Rob, don't you know there are serious broadcast rules, bro?
Well, okay, but I mean, I'm saying
No.
Yeah.
I used to do this for a living. There is no other event on the planet Earth that is more controlled from every single word, syllable that comes out of your mouth. You can look how many people have gotten in trouble. You can't there are so many rules. You can't run across the fairway when they open the gates. You'll lose your tickets. There's a whole thing. When Buddy Martin tells you it's the hardest ticket in sports to get, he's not kidding.
Yeah.
Steve Jr. lost it, got his cell phone taken one year.
Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy time. Pete, bouncing around real quick, and we're going to do Rapid Fire Monday. Thanks everybody out here for watching and sharing this show. You have no idea how much we appreciate it. Brendan's got 9 monitors streaming this live right here. But Pete, quickly, and then back to Dave. There's so much I've got on my list today to talk about, but Epic Titus wants to know your thoughts.
Well, number one, Ellis, there is an SEC football staff that every Sunday at the Masters, they have reserved seats behind the 12th tee. And they've been going there for the last, how long's Kirby been at Georgia?
Since 2016.
Oh, did I just say Georgia? Oh, the staff on Sunday, they have reserved seats to watch those guys come in on 11 and then tee off on 12. And if you ever want to meet the Georgia coaching staff, show up on Sunday. But like Brendan said, the hardest ticket to get is there.
Yeah.
Nick Saban, his last 2 years at Alabama, had a big time issue with players who couldn't let bad plays go. Talking to Dave Bartoo's point about mental toughness, it drove Nick crazy that he had 5, 6, 7-star players, whoever wanted to put stars on them, couldn't let the bad play go. And he would talk to his staff, to former coach, his former guys, network about it. What are they doing? And when he talked to Bill Belichick about it, his close friend, Belichick said, I went out and played at the Pro-Am at Pebble Beach. He said, I had the Pebble Beach Pro-Am is right after the football season, so I haven't really had a chance to get my swing down and play. And he said, I talked to the pro that I was playing with, and asked him, "How do you let a bad shot go?" He said, "My wife and kids at home have to eat." He said, "I don't let that bad shot go." He said, "We're going hungry."
Yep.
He said, "So mental toughness, I got to go on to the next shot. I'll
Yeah.
worry about it at the end of the round." Now, I'm going to tell you something that I thought won the tournament for Rory McIlroy. Saturday after his round, he went to the range and spent 30 minutes, hit 45 balls without a TrackMan, without a computer, without his caddy to get a feel because he knew how bad he hit his driver on Saturday. His driver was getting him in trouble. So what did he do? He immediately course corrected.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The mental toughness that goes into that. Belichick brought this pro that he played with in to talk to the Patriots at OTAs, which are coming up here in May or June, and talk to his players about here's how you let bad things go. The young kids we're dealing with today have no idea how to overcome adversity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these golfers, if you want to keep your tour card, if you want to compete, you have to let bad things go and start to work on, like Dave said as well, find your weakness and improve on it.
Yeah.
That's what golfers do. That's what the great football players do. It's not bigger, stronger, faster. How big's your heart? How big's your gut? How big is your will to win? And that's not emphasized enough because, oh my goodness, you're putting pressure on little Tommy Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, guess what? We got pressure in life. And as a coach, you have to help people get through the hard times. Anybody can do it when it's going well.
Yeah. Well,
And so, when you look
What
at it,
was the advice? What how do you let go of a good play according to Saban and Belichick?
a bad play, you mean?
I mean, sorry. How do you get to
play
the
the
good
next play.
How do you
Play
get?
the next, just play. But guess what? Don't let the same mistake occur twice.
Yeah.
Okay. And football is a game of mistakes.
But you have a trick or something? Like I used to tell like dirty jokes or something and try to get them out of their head.
You know what, Brendan? That's a great question. Here's
All right,
why.
I did.
No, everybody's different. Some guys can take, as Nick said, that's an ass chewing. Other guys can't. They shatter. So you
Yeah.
pat them on the back, you whisper in their ear a little bit, you hug them up, and then some others you just go, "Hey, yo, dude, I'm going to start a size 11 shoe factory in your rectum if you don't get going."
Yeah. Pete, Dave, jump in here real quick. That is great advice. I agree. You can't stay stuck, Dave.
Okay. Well, what I'm hearing though, okay, is Pete saying you got to know the player and how to motivate them.
Yes.
How much time are coaches now getting with the players to figure out who they are and how to motivate them?
Yeah.
Okay.
A bunch.
Okay. So it's rather than just saying it's a player issue, is this a player coach disconnect because of the churn and the turnover? Again, all of this lack of continuity in your program lowers communications less, the player and coaches knowing each other. Everything we're looking at, the brand of college football we have today used to be here and is now a meh. And it's not one thing. We want to blame one thing. It's a lot of little pieces that are making up, that are sorting down this funnel, that are just making college football that much tougher each and every day.
Dave, all right. So you look at we saw it with basketball. Teams like UConn and they have some 3 and 4 year players. You talk about portability of success. That's everything. You're familiar. You can scream at people because you outrank them, but if they don't respect you, it just goes in one ear and out the other. You have to save it for special occasions. If you were doing an evaluation right now, let's say the NCAA said, "Dave, present to us why we should give coaches more time with the players." That would be great.
Oh, there'd be a laundry list of just psychological reasons that make the game better, And I wouldn't ask me, good Lord, I'd ask the Petes and the Ellises of what connectivity. One of the things would be, what is the connectivity we're losing, right? Off the field. Connectivity with strength and conditioning, connectivity with mental exercises, with watching film, with everything. I don't think there'd ever be an end to the questions that lack of being together. Think about that. You're playing a team sport, and being together has been vastly restricted.
Yeah.
How is that going to make it better?
Yeah. I mean, the strength and conditioning coach, that's why they're now making 7 figures, isn't it, Dave?
Well, I think it's because the price keeps going up, but at some point you think it would hit a wall, but they're making a lot now because there's an emphasis on it, but something else will be emphasized in a few years. So,
Ellis,
cash the check.
Coach Ellis Johnson, do you think the recruiting has changed that a little bit because coaches don't go into the living room anymore? It's not more like, what's the future for my son? That's how much.
I really don't know, because I've been out during this length of time that this has all been put in place. I think coaches still work just as hard on the road as they always did. They're probably not working as many kids. And you don't really go into living rooms and the kitchens and have dinner until you really have offered and you're in the fight with 1 or 2 other schools. Yeah. You don't go in during the evaluation period and spend time in the homes and other things with those people. So I don't know. The portal is the biggest thing that's changed recruiting, I would have to think. Yeah. But I think the way they approach it with the high school kids is basically the same. And back to, we're talking about kids being able to move on, get over the bad play. How many times have you watched coaches, Pete, I guess you and I be the ones that this question's for, but they're constantly negative. That's how they coach. And then about 2 weeks later, they're thinking, this kid has no confidence. This kid has no ability to get over a bad play. Well, yeah, you chewed on his ass for 5 minutes about one play. Yep. And now you want him to all of a sudden put it behind him and move on. So a lot of it's coaching now. And I'm not saying you don't chew there, when it's time to do it. But it goes back to that magic word that Dave's talking about, is time. How much time do you have with them?
Guys, I'm sorry, Ellis, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, they have a lot more time with these kids than y'all might think. My son, they've got 3 walkthroughs this week and lifting with the strength coach. I don't know who's going to take them through the walkthroughs. I don't think a full-time coach can legally be in there. But their last spring practice, what they do is they walk through the whole time what they want the players to do the rest of the next 3 or 4 months in what they call skills and drills. That's where the players go out and, they work on everything by themselves. Yeah. But the coaches choreograph it before they turn them loose to do it, so they're getting good repetitions instead of bad. But where you say, well, if they got all that time with them, why don't they know the kids? Because they leave every year and they go somewhere else to play. And you got 35 new kids in there and you don't know them. And it's going to take you a while to get to know them. So that connectivity you're talking about, this NIL portal stuff's killing it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I got to tell you, one of the biggest assets I had in my life and my coaching career is my wife, and here's why. Every Thursday night, she would cook dinner for all the quarterbacks and receivers at our house.
God, love it.
And here was the deal. Before they left that Thursday night, she would pick one guy to say, what do you want next week? She would make the dinner. They have the champions dinner at the Masters where the winner gets the. Well, my wife was the champion, only I was the one paying for it. So, it was one of those things. But here's the thing. I used to say to guys that screwed up, you're not coming to dinner Thursday night. You keep up with that crap. Yeah. Like, whoa. And I said, no, you're going to have to answer to Miss Laurie. No. But no, every Thursday night, my wife did an unbelievable job. And this is everywhere I coached. And the players to this day remember those dinners. So the connectivity, she was great. how's your family? And then
Yeah.
when the families would show up for game day, they'd go, oh, my son loves coming to your house. And I always think, yeah, tell him to clean up after himself, will you, please? Jesus, oh my
Yeah.
God. But no, the second thing is when the NCAA got rid of athletic dorms,
Yeah.
that's a huge mistake. Because when you had all those guys living together, even though curfew was at 11, they weren't going to bed at 11. But guess what? If I found out Brendan's girlfriend had fired him, now I could go in there and say, hey, Brendan, what can we do to help you?
Yeah.
Or the more serious things like so-and-so's grandma passed away, or so-and-so's mom has breast cancer, or this was a time for guys to build relationships through the culture.
Yeah.
It was part of building a culture. Today, when practice is over, guys scatter to the wind.
Yeah.
The next time you see them is at the meeting. They don't do a lot of stuff off together off campus.
Yeah.
So that's why all of a sudden you hear coaches at these media days, well, we're doing team building things. You should be doing team building things every day, man, not once a week, once a month.
Yeah.
So athletic dorms has caused the lack of, well, we want them to be in the general population with you. Shoot, they don't go to class anymore. They don't go on campus, a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So that's number two. And number three, all these kids are coming to campus now for recruiting. And like Ellis said, you never go into the home until after you've seen them and they commit.
Yeah.
And you're not recruiting the numbers because when I was recruiting my area, I didn't recruit just quarterbacks and receivers. Ellis and I recruited all positions, and we evaluated everybody and brought them back and talked. Today, everything's specialized.
Yeah.
D-line coach with D-line, and that's all good and well. But you know what? There's more personalities on the staff.
Yeah.
They got to get to know everybody. And it comes back to Dave's point about connectivity. What are you doing to connect? I will say this. In the summer, coaches are spending more times with their players because the NCAA has allowed them to have meeting time now.
Yeah.
So you got to use that time, not just on football stuff, on personal stuff as well.
Yeah. And Pete, that's a great point. Dave, I promise you, if you think about the teachers, coaches that you had in life, I went to Christian Brothers High School in Memphis, and I'm telling you some of the things that we went through. Wow. You didn't wear socks. You never forgot to wear socks again. Brother Adrian S. Powers, I promise you, at 5:30 in the morning, you could go by the school. When I graduated and I had kids, I'd be going out to train my hunting dog at Shelby Farms. 5:30 in the morning, he's sweeping Walnut Grove with a broom in front of the school. If you walked by a piece of trash, you picked up the entire parking lot after school, and you better not be late. And if you didn't do that, you got 15 hours of Saturday school. And there's nothing wrong with that. Dave, you look at Dan Lanning at Oregon. Look at the culture that he's building. Mario Cristobal before him. It doesn't matter where you go. You still got to connect with your players. You spend a lot of time working on rosters but really staffing and all like that. What kind of personality is there? Like a sheet that you've got that you check off plus and minuses of what you're looking for in a coach?
No, because what each coach needs to be able to do though is identify what works with them.
Yeah.
Right. We just talked about the coach that chews everybody's ass.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that's cool. That's cool. If that's the coach you are, if that's what you think helps you win, then when it comes down to roster building, then one of the things that all of your guys, your GM, your director of player personnel, your director of scouting, everybody that's evaluating kids, one of the things on the checklist needs to be, how well does this guy take an ass chewing? Right? Yep. I mean, how well does that guy connect with the head coach? And so whether, and it doesn't matter which head coach I'm working with, right? It's okay, always remind them is find the guy that fits you and your culture, yeah, the numbers are great, right? You want, here's the top 10 performers of defensive coordinator, but which guy is going to be able to work as hard as you want him to work? Well, which guy has the cultural experience, and so it's not always the best player on paper. It is certainly not always the best coach on paper. It is finding the guys that work with the coaches the best. And so that varies coach by coach. And I think that's part of being a good head coach, is understanding what works well with you, with what you're trying to build.
Yeah. Dave, looking at the SEC, we got spring practice underway, spring games going on. And there's a little bit of a squeeze. We talk about it. Big Ten's won 3 championships in a row. And look at the flip side. It's not over for the SEC, but if they don't make some changes to what they're doing, I think the pain will continue. You look at right now, who are your top 4, if you had to think about it, based on numbers, scoring efficiency, offense, defense? You got a top 3 or 4 teams you think from the SEC that can win the CFP championship, or who are the teams that you think are in the lead right now based on numbers?
Man, you crack me up. Oh my goodness. Who roots for the SEC, man? I mean, the Big Ten's ahead of the SEC. Screw them both. I don't care. I'm a Duck fan. I don't root for the Big Ten. No, come on. Am I rooting for John Sumrall and the Gators? Hell yeah. Am I rooting for Georgia and Kirby? Hell no. I'm not rooting for Greg Sankey. Good Lord. You want to talk about a bunch of sorry-ass fans is people who root for their conference. Good Lord. But when it comes down to winning a national title, okay, now Indiana redefined the line last year from a talent perspective, folks. I mean, come on. Now, I've always said 1 year doesn't make a trend, but trends got to start somewhere. Okay. And so the Big Ten being dominant in whatever for a year, again, it's the same thing as SEC basketball last year. A lot of people forgot SEC had one of the greatest men's basketball tournaments as a whole last year. And this year, the sky's falling. Yeah, well, it's because your defense sucked, right? Yeah. It's college sports. Stuff goes up and down. But when it comes down to national championship games, it's still talent, still coaching. Okay. And so when I look at the SEC, or any team for that matter, is I want to see the highest level. How high is your level of talent? How high is your level of coaching? And if you want to get into it, how easy is your schedule, right? I want an easier schedule. Easier schedule is a healthier team. A healthier team with the best coaching is going to win a lot of football games. Okay. Indiana, one of the things people didn't talk about last year, Indiana stayed very, very healthy last year. Okay. For whatever reason, the football gods blessed them. Their quarterback, their running back, their offensive line, their defensive line. That was a healthy team. And everybody watching, we've all had that team where you just go, oh my God, if we would have just stayed healthy. Yeah. Right? Every single fan right now, I can tell you every Duck football and basketball team, if we'd have just stayed healthy. So when you look at the SEC, who are your top recruiters? Okay, I'm still going there, even though we had Indiana win it all. I'm still going back to who are your best recruiters. You got your Georgia, you got your LSU, right? You got your Alabama, you got your Texas, and then you got your next level. You got your Oklahoma, you got your Florida, your Texas A&M, right? Then you start looking at the coaching staffs, all right? And you go Georgia, Alabama, LSU, probably the best combination of coaching staff right now. Oh, man. Is it LSU today? Right? But all 3 of those programs have really good staffs. Texas A&M has the Longhorns of the top 10 recruiters in the SEC. The Longhorns have the worst staff. So I'm not considering them a national championship contender. Okay. So that's kind of my way of looking at it, as players, coaches, schedule. And with the SEC going to 9 SEC games now, schedule got tougher. The health's going to go down. It's harder to win. again, strength of schedule does not indicate the quality of the team. It hurts you, doesn't help you.
All right, Dave, real quick. Eric Stevens, some questions on here about Kentucky and Will Stein. Will Stein played his college football at Louisville, I believe. He's now the new head coach at Kentucky. You watched him up close and personal. Tosh Lapoy, defensive coordinator, is now in Berkeley with the Cal Bears. But your thoughts on what Will Stein could do or will try to do with the Kentucky program?
Oh man. Oh, okay. I was excited for Will, new blood in coaching, young guy in coaching. I'm always excited about that. Whether they sink or swim, I like the churn there. You hire Will Stein because he's a really good offensive mind. Okay. He did great with the Ducks, but he was also hand-fed some of the best quarterback talent in the country. But it was portable because he did great with UTSA on his own his first year. But I think he made we'll see. But I think one of the critical mistakes this year is he was hired to run a good offense, and he is not calling the plays. And he brought in a guy that is average at calling the plays, and he brought in a guy that is average at calling the defensive plays too. So Kentucky, you got a new head coach. I'm not going to pass a grade on him or anything like that because he's never done it before. But on paper, he has the lowest graded offensive-defensive coordinator combination in the SEC.
All right. We asked.
I don't think that wins you a lot of football games, in my opinion.
Yeah, that'll be fun to watch. Ellis Johnson, kind of take what Dave just said and let's carry on. Eric Stevens, great question. Thanks for watching.
Y'all might have seen this. Ronnie Sanders with Auburn Undercover or whatever it is, shared it to me. It's called Big Ten Information and News. I don't know. I don't read the stuff other than what he sends me sometimes. But it goes through what is going on with the SEC and the Big Ten. And there's it's basically what the thing is saying is it's not a power two that they're collaborating and forming. It is a natural divergence of these two conferences. One wanted that regional footprint and retain their rivalries. One wanted to control the national networks and have all the exposure. And where we criticized Big Ten and thought they were losing their identity and all that kind of thing, with what's going on today with the NIL and the portal, it's a money game now. And they've got more wealth in their alumni overall, other than the Texas schools. And they've got more money to outbid you. And they're going to take you great players. If they don't get them out of high school, they will come down and get them after you work on them for a year or two and get a developed player. But this thing got pretty detailed. I'll share it. I think I already shared it.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
You read that thing, and it's hard to argue with it. And when I saw this thing coming, I thought it was going to go the other way. I thought the SEC was masterful in how they're keeping their footprint together. But what this thing says is they've really kind of tied themselves into a corner. And the Big Ten now is getting all the national exposure. And they think it's been happening prior to all these national championships. In other words, the national championships are not what made this. It's because this phenomenon that's going on. That's why they're all of a sudden they've got these championships in all sports.
Yeah.
SEC is, football first, and everybody else try to get you a little bit. But this thing was pretty, not alarming, but it kind of got my attention because obviously I'm a Southeastern Conference guy.
Yeah.
And it's pretty stark what some of the things that are in there if you read it.
Yeah, well, Ronnie's smart. I mean, he's coached and he knows football, knows the pulse around the country. I'll tell you something, guys. I'll say this. The SEC network will have a takeover, Dave, or each school during the summer, during the dead period before media days, gets 24 hours to show their games. And it was said a few years ago, if you watch the Auburn deal, everything is a win over Alabama, something like that. Auburn wants to win the state championship. Alabama talks about their national championships. They want to be more of a national program. You better be thinking ahead, Pete Cordelli. You look at Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. Look what Marcus Freeman, who's from Southwest Ohio, was the leading tackler in the national championship game, Florida, Ohio State. It was on the losing side, but he had like 15 tackles. Dave is right, and so is Ellis. There's 138 million people, according to Brett McMurphy's article last week, in the Big Ten footprint. 138 million. 107 million in the SEC footprint. While we like the contiguous footprint in the SEC, old Brooks Brothers. My son went up there for a marketing club trip. Asked the guy at Brooks Brothers, the head guy. He said, "Son, good question." He goes, "We're not good because we're old." He goes, "We're old because we're good." And the SEC, if you're not willing to change, improvise, adapt, move on, yeah, you can be a dinosaur real fast. And that's the danger. Look at Kentucky basketball. Since everybody in the SEC made basketball a priority, look what's happening now. It's got dogs barking.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that, she's agreeing with you. That's why she's barking.
I love dogs.
Notre Dame, what'd you say? 107 million for who?
100 in the footprint of the SEC in the States.
Well, let me tell you something. Notre Dame's got 200 million in their footprint because all these people said, "Yeah, I love Notre Dame." Notre Dame's like the Yankees and the Dodgers. You either love them or you hate them. So
That's right.
you've got all these millions of people that say, "Yeah," and everywhere you used to, "Oh, I love Notre Dame." "Oh yeah, I was at that Miami Notre Dame Catholics first," and you're going, "How could you be there? There was only 59,000 people in the stadium." But anyway. Notre Dame has come out with the revenge tour for 2026. I understand that coming from the players. Marcus Freeman's doing a great job. His mentor is Jim Tressel. He played for Jim at Ohio State. And Marcus believed that you can combine academics with athletics. That's why when Notre Dame approached him about the job, he said, "I know how to make this work. I don't care what Brian Kelly said. Give me the opportunity." And Coach Tressel has helped him greatly. Before I was interviewing for a head coaching job, and I called Irk Russell one day and I said, "Coach, I'm interviewing for this job." And I said, "About staff." And he said, "Pete, let me tell you something." And this was like his 7th, 8th year at Georgia Southern. And he said it takes 3 full years to get your staff right. He said, because you've got a bunch of guys you've never worked with before, in some cases, trying to come together. You're learning their coaching style. Then the recruiting. And at that point, everybody was on the road, how they tie in. And then it goes back to Dave's point. Can you be coached hard? Yeah. We just had the NFL combine in Indianapolis. And I know this. When Belichick was at Cleveland, New England, when a player was brought in for his 15-minute interview, the first question Bill Belichick, the head coach, would ask, "Rob Brown, can you take being coached hard? Because my language is going to offend a lot of people, but it's the way I coach, and you're playing for me." And it's not a language deal. It's that who I am. So I'm not changing for you.
Yeah.
So if I rip your ass one day in front of everybody, are you going to fold? "Oh, he doesn't like me." And so being coached hard, your staff takes 3 years to get it put together. And then this is back before the portal. He said, you got to do a great job in recruiting and building relationships in that state.
Yeah.
The transfer portal, like Ellis said earlier, has changed all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe one of the big questions you have to ask a guy coming in on his visit, can you be coached hard to our standard? That's where Signetti set the bar.
Yeah.
I'm not changing for you. You got to change for me if you want to be a part of this success deal. Google me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's there.
Yeah.
And
I
in
love
today's climate, I think the parents have understood Marcus Freeman is a man of his word. He's going to make you go to class, but he's going to improve you as a football player.
Yeah, that's right.
He has who I think he's got one of the best offensive coordinators going in Mike Denbrock. I mean, you look where Denbrock's been and the success they've had.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Denbrock, to me, operates an offense based on player strengths.
Yeah.
And when he was at LSU, he had Jaden Daniels, and obviously now with CJ Carr. And that's why Kenny Minchie went to Kentucky, is that you couldn't have, two quarterbacks making it in that system.
Yeah. Pete, let me say, and didn't Denbrock go to JP2, John Paul II in Hendersonville? I think he did.
Kenny Minchie did. Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny Minchie.
Yeah,
Minchie's
from here in Nashville.
Yeah. So there's a ton of players.
But he started out,
Yeah.
Rob, at Lipscomb Academy with Trent Dilfer.
Okay.
And he got beat out in 10th grade, so that's when he went to JP2.
Okay.
But when you combine all those things of getting a staff, and in today's age, I don't know if coaches have 3 years anymore.
Yeah, I don't think they do. We're about out of time. I just want to get this is. I go back and watch all these shows, and all of you watching, you like what we're doing, share it and like it, and share it with your friends. I'll say this, Dave, my harshest critics are my best friends, and man, they are on me like white on rice. Great show today, Dave. You got aches and pains. How do you get those healed? And also, people are looking for staffing and issues. How they get hold of you and your website and all that?
Well, the easiest thing is just send me a text. Hit me up. Any question, any comment, any idea. In fact, some of the best ideas this last weekend, I was talking to a Big 12 coach and an SEC coach, and they were asking about data. And they were using. Well, it was. I got some cool stuff to send out to you guys. That breaks down football games. But anyways, the text line 971-217-8419. Just send me a text. I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the same number he's giving Phil Knight. That's why he's such a big Duck fan. Phil Knight is knocking him. Go Ducks!
No, I can just drive it. Phil's just right. Phil's 9 minutes over the two ridges over, man. It's not hard to find Phil if he's in town.
I can't believe you're wearing an Iowa State hat with the Ducks 9 minutes over the hill.
Well, hey,
dude, no. This is my Jimmy Lake hat. This is my Jimmy Lake hat. Yeah, Jimmy Lake sucked so bad, I won this hat in a bet. Somebody bet on Jimmy Lake. So I love this hat because I hate Washington more than anything.
I love it.
Guys, like a true Duck fan. I love it.
And Ellis has on his green Duck shirt. I love that right there. Hey,
in honor of Puddles.
That's right. Puddles, the mascot. I love it. Guys, great stuff as always. Check out our website, sidelines.live, and all of our sponsors. Guys, we'll see y'all next Monday. Hey, you got to get a new car, truck, or SUV. Get on out to Landers Ford, Poplar and Houston Levy, where Germantown and Collierville meet. LandersFordMemphis.com. Easy to deal with. Ask for Brad Bellamy, the general manager. They're also at Mount Moriah and I-240. They're open every day of the week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., except on Sunday. And they're down the street from Hewlett and Dunn. So many new clothes up there in the 50% off rack right now. MyTownRoofing.com. Of course, Hemp for Pros. Hey, for executive producer Brendan Martin, I'll close by saying what I always say. Most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. Find ways to help and share your best with other people. See you tonight.